Welcome back to the TWSN YouTube channel, and today we have a little bit of a baseball content for you guys. We do touch on a lot of different sports here at TWSN, and with now that the MLB lockout is over, things are getting back into the full swing of things. We're going to give you guys some MLB content. But like I said, make sure you subscribe here on the YouTube channel, follow along on all the social media so you can see all of those different kind of sports that we do cover, and now we can get into some baseball a little bit. I think, I know baseball's not for everybody, but I love it, and I'm excited to talk about it with you here today, Matt. And let's get things started with Max Scherzer going to the Mets, leaving your Los Angeles Dodgers. How you feeling?
Yeah, as a Dodger fan, we are thankful for him for what he did last year, but we did see a decline towards the end of the season. There was an outing he got roughed up by the Colorado Rockies, and from that moment on, he kind of started going down a little bit. When he first got to LA, he kind of had that shutout streak where he wasn't giving up any runs. He was just pure dominant. People were calling it the best trade acquisition ever, basically. And then he kind of showed his age a little bit. We don't know if that was from his age per se. Maybe it was his wear and tear. The dude's been pitching for a long time. He's usually in the playoffs. He usually goes far into the playoffs, even if it's the second round. Scherzer has a lot of wear and tear on him, and we saw that come to a head this past year. In the NLCS against Atlanta, he had the dead arm in game 6, and he couldn't pitch. And ultimately, that was the last time we ever saw him in the Dodger uniform. I believe he pitched game 2 of the Brave series, and that was the last time we saw him. And he went out and got paid by the Mets. Very much so.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about his health, basically. Can he stay healthy? Can that arm hold up? Because he is 37 years old, and if he can, the Mets have one hell of a rotation.
Absolutely. The whole story about the Mets in general is going to be their team's health. They added a bunch of people in general, Eduardo Escobar, Marcano, Starling Marte. Um, so they did a lot there, but none of those guys are young. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're relying on any budding young stars to carry them. Obviously, I know they have Lindor, but just when it comes to the rotation, if Max Scherzer and Jacob DeGrom can stay healthy, it's hard to see them really struggling. I mean, you can kind of argue that you can definitely. I think it's more of a fact that if they're healthy, that's the best one-two punch right now in the MLB. But it's one of the best we've ever seen if they can stay healthy. Obviously, if they live up to what they have done in the past, and with Scherzer, the whole dead arm thing is interesting. I don't know how to feel about it. I'd like to just say maybe he was just exhausted. I don't know. But if this Mets team can stay healthy, I don't see what's really going to slow them down. But that's, health, best ability is availability. And if the Mets can get over that hump, then I think it should finally kind of, take them out to where they want to go. I know every year they go all in, it doesn't work, and then they go all in even harder, and then it doesn't work, and then they go all in, all in, all in, all in. So hopefully it works for Mets fans. You got to be feeling pretty confident about it, but it's definitely a little unsafe in my eyes. I think it's a little riskier than people want to admit. We can now keep talking about another starting pitcher that I think kind of caught some people by surprise as well, and that's Kevin Gossman to the Toronto Blue Jays. How did you feel about this one, Matt?
Yeah, this one definitely took me by surprise because I did not see him leaving San Francisco. This dude revitalized his career with the Giants. He was an average starter with the Orioles, and then he goes to Atlanta. Then he had a short stint in Cincinnati,
Sure did.
and he wasn't very good,
No.
to be honest. And he
No.
signed a 1 year deal with the Giants in 2019, and then they signed him back, obviously. He was good with the Giants. He was almost an ace for them this year. And I thought for sure the Giants were going to keep him, but they didn't. And the Jays got him, and I love this for the Jays because the Jays, while they missed the playoffs last year, they are absolutely loaded. That team is loaded. We'll talk more about them in our post-lockout video about some of the other moves they made this offseason, but this team is loaded. They are young. They are hungry. They are coming for that AL East crown and possibly the World Series. And I think Gossman really adds to that rotation with Barrios and Hyunjin Ryu. And this team is just ready to win now. And this signals that.
Absolutely, dude. I love the fit in general, but I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. And definitely threw me for a loop. It makes total sense. Like when you think of it, they're obviously gonna go all in. Like you alluded to, they made some other moves, but they needed to shore up the rotation a little bit. Nothing crazy. Um, I didn't think a guy like Gossman was gonna be who their target was. I thought maybe some mid-level pitchers, a couple mid-level 3, 4 guys in the rotation. But no, I mean Kevin Gossman, he's a beast. I mean, you obviously got to worry maybe he'll go back to his pre-San Francisco days, which is obviously a worry. But I mean, let's just talk about worst case scenario. If he goes back to his pre-Giant days and he's the third starter in Toronto, like
You could do a lot worse than Gossman. That's the thing.
Exactly. Like you alluded to, this team is super young. He adds a little bit of a veteran presence there. I know it's pitchers to position players, but still, you need somebody who knows how to win a little bit, no matter where they play. And Kevin Gausman, he is that. And we talk about this Blue Jays team having kind of came out of nowhere a little bit these last few years, and then there's another team trying to come out of nowhere, and that's this Texas Rangers team, man. Corey Seager, Simeon, John Gray. I think it's awesome what they're doing. I absolutely love when some nobody just is like, "Hey, we're going to be good right now. We're good. Deal with it." How do you feel about these Rangers moves this year, man?
I love it because I'm with you. I love the fact that they were aggressive, but it's weird because not many people see the Texas Rangers as a World Series contender. Yet they went out and spent like a World Series contender. Corey Seager, the writing was on the wall for him. He was going to leave LA from the moment they traded for Trey Turner. The Dodgers signaled that's our backup plan, basically. Like we'll go after Seager, but like we're not going to go after him as aggressively as we probably would have if Turner had not been on the roster. And Seager had ties with Woodward from who was on the LA staff. He's now the Rangers manager. That makes all the sense in the world to me. And he destroyed the baseball in the World Series and the NLCS out in Texas in 2020. So it makes sense for Seager to go there. The Simeon move was the interesting one. I believe that happened before Seager, but it's weird because I did not see the Rangers paying for more than one of them, but they got both, right? Simeon had an awesome year with the Jays last year, and to see him leave Toronto was interesting. But credit to the Rangers, they got their guys, and then the John Gray pick. Like John Gray's not bad, right? Like he's not, but he was a Colorado Rockies pitcher, so we can't fully
You
gauge
don't
how
know.
he
You don't
is.
really know how good or bad he
Yeah,
is.
exactly. You just never know how Rockies pitchers are. Like, but he was able to be effective in Coors Field, so that tells me he has some talent, right? So for the Rangers, I would have liked to see them maybe go out and get another starter or two. They didn't, but it is what it is. They got their guys. What did you think about like Seager for say like 10 years to the Rangers?
It was some hefty deals laid out by the Rangers here. Um, the Seeker acquisition, like I said, is a little bit of expected. Simeon one caught people by surprise more, but something like people with Seager, his thing is his health. We've always kind of known that. I know he's always wanted to play shortstop. That's kind of what he said with the Dodgers, and I think maybe the DH is something that's going to kind of keep him healthier. Maybe he realizes he needs to stay healthy, and he'll realize he needs to play second base a little more. That's total speculation, obviously. It's just kind of a thought process. I think he probably wanted to play short so he could get paid like a shortstop. And now that he did, maybe he's like, I need to be on the field. I need to be in the batter's box helping my team win. We'll see if that's what the case. But if he can stay healthy, I mean, we saw what Marcus Semien did last year. We know who Corey Seager is. It could be a dynamic duo there. But this team has more pieces than just them. They have a lot of quality players around them that didn't just get a lot of attention because they were terrible last year. But adding 2 stars with some quality guys like Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe, Nick Solak, those guys get a lot better when you have 2 studs penciled in between all of them. But like you said, I really want them to add another pitcher, probably multiple in the bullpen and in the starting rotation. But I think their thought process is let's lock our guys in now, get them here while we can, and then next year, the deadline, whatever, we'll take advantage of the starting pitcher market and kind of work from there. But it's a very, 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 very fun start for the Rangers. Another player that's kind of known for being fun is Javier Baez. We saw him, get dealt at the deadline to go to the Mets, and now he ended up signing I believe, a 6-year deal to take his talent to Detroit and join this very exciting on the come up, fun Tigers team. How do you feel about that fit there for Javi and Detroit?
Yeah, this might be my favorite signing of the offseason, both post, pre, lock, everything, because I love the fit of Javi Baez in Detroit. This Detroit team, as you said, they're fun, they are young, they are loaded in the farm system, and Baez is that veteran presence that I feel like he could really help them. He brings a bat, he has a glove, like he is the kind of player that you want on your baseball team, and he brings that experience with him from Chicago winning. They already have AJ Hinch as their manager, who has some experience winning with the
Some.
Astros, and we're not going to get into all that because that's not the point of this. But Javi Baez is a stud. I'm surprised he left New York because him and Lindor apparently are really good friends, and he always said he wanted to play with Lindor. He got that chance. Maybe he didn't like it. Maybe he realized grass isn't greener playing with my friends. I don't know, but hey, he got paid. Detroit's going to be really good in about a year. What did you think? Because I know you have some feelings towards Javi Baez being a Reds fan.
Absolutely, man. Obviously, a lot of feelings towards him, but there's no denying he is one hell of a player. Crazy in the field. There's obviously some holes with his offensive game, kind of home run or bust, which is kind of where the game's going. So there's nothing wrong with it. But like you alluded to, he feels like he's gonna embrace that city unlike no other. He got that toughness and that grit to him that it really the city of Detroit. That's what it's about. And you can't talk about the Tigers without talking about some of their young studs coming up with Green and Torkelson. And it's just pairing him with them in a couple of years. They got a young rotation that's really fun. This team is so close to being so good. I hope they don't mess it up because the game is good when the Tigers are good. It's fun. We saw how fun they were a couple of years, not a couple of years ago at this point, but a while ago.
Almost 10 years ago, but yeah, still.
Yeah, I mean, the game is good. The game is fun when the Tigers are good, and I'm hoping it gets back there. Like I said, with the mix of the farm system, with the mix of some of these big free agent signings, the first one being Javier Baez. We'll see how it plays out. And another team that's been on the come up. Everybody saw what they did last year, kind of turned into America's team there down at the end of the season, trying to sneak into the playoffs. And that's the Mariners, and they made their first big splash in the offseason that everybody kind of expected them to be super aggressive in. And that was by signing Cy Young winner Robbie Ray. I know this one has a little bit of a mixed opinions, emotions about it. What are yours?
Yeah, I love Seattle. I love what the Mariners have done. I like you said, Merrick's team. I really want them in the playoffs. Finally, break that little streak they have here. I don't like this signing. I really don't. I don't understand why they committed so much money to this guy. Like, I get he won the Cy Young last year, but he was awful. He was awful with the Diamondbacks. Like, there's a reason he signed a 1 year deal with the Blue Jays to begin with. Like, I don't know. It's like the Blue Jays figured out how to make him a good pitcher, but so he leaves Toronto. Like that's also weird to me. That see for me, why didn't the Jays sign him back? Right, this
Yeah.
dude won the Cy Young. He was really effective for you. They must have known something, right? Like, they had to. But I like the move, the aggressiveness of Seattle. I really hope it works out. I really don't see it working out, and I feel like they're going to end up trading him within 2 years.
I it is a tough one. Yeah, I think everybody was rooting for Seattle, like we alluded to. But in general, I really don't know how I feel about Robbie Ray. Like you said, he wasn't very good prior to last year, but you don't just accidentally win a Cy Young. So I think he's probably gonna go trend towards being, Diamondbacks, Jays, somewhere like right here. He's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna level out a little bit. I don't think he's ever going to be that dominant. I don't think he's ever going to be as bad as he once was. I think he's going to find himself somewhere in the middle, which is kind of why I think it's going to end up being an overpay in the long run. But it was an okay move. They needed started pitching, so they kind of had to jump on whoever they thought their guy was. And if they thought it was Robbie Ray, that's who they thought it was. There's nothing we can do about it. I think it's going to end up being an overpay, like we alluded to. But he should have. Hopefully, he gives you some decent production early on before he kind of falls back into the middle of the pack. But regardless, it's an okay move. You needed it. You added a Cy Young winner. You can't be too upset.
I would
At
have
the,
preferred them gone after Gossman. To be honest, he
yeah, that
fits
that
a
was a
little
little
better
surprising.
with
There
the
were definitely
Mariners.
better fits than Robbie Ray for the
Yeah.
Mariners, in my opinion. Another guy this one's going to be a little interesting to talk about. Hasn't pitched in over a year. Noah Syndergaard and his long flowing, beautiful blonde hair, taking his talents to the beaches of Los Angeles. How do you feel about it?
I just want to point out, technically, the Angels are in Anaheim, not Los
Anaheim.
Angeles. Even though they call themselves the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, I don't know why they do that, but whatever.
Mm,
But yeah, I like this fit. I really do. The Angels have needed pitching for so long at this point. And I hope Syndergaard is healthy because when he was healthy with the Mets, the dude was electric. Like they had Thor memes and Thor everything with him. And you told me a couple years ago that Syndergaard was not a Met. I wouldn't have believed you because he was beloved in New York. He loved New York. Like I couldn't have seen him leaving. He goes on the other side of the coast now, and he fits in with that long blonde hair, like you said. He can go be a surfer dude somewhere, and he fits. I mean, they made this move to try to get back to the playoffs. I mean, Mike Trout has only been to the playoffs one time in his career, and they got swept. It's a travesty what the Angels have done with him, but this move signals that they're at least trying something. They overpaid to get him, I believe. I think he's making 21 million a year
roughly, yeah.
for the 1 year. I'm surprised they didn't give him that second year, but maybe he wants to do like the prove it year and then cash out next year.
Absolutely. I think the thing that really caught me off guard too was his 1 year deal. I thought that the both teams, not necessarily the Angels more than Thor, I guess, really kind of wanted that 2 year deal because I honestly think this is a beautiful fit. I really do. The Angels need pitching. The upside is obviously through the roof with Noah Syndergaard, and I think no matter how this year ends up, I think he's going to be an Angel for a long time after it, which is why it surprises me it wasn't a longer term deal now. And I think it's obviously just because he hasn't pitched in a while, and there's a lot of risks that come with signing a guy like that, but there's also a lot of reward. And I feel like the Angels missed out on that reward a little bit by not trying to give him a longer term deal. But I think he's going to be in Anaheim or wherever they are for longer than a year for sure. I think that, it's going to turn out to be a good fit. Hopefully, he can get Mike Trout to the promised land because he deserves it. But I'm really happy for this fit for Syndergaard himself. He, missing all that time, getting paid. You got to feel good for the dude. Hopefully, I feel good for Mike Trout. Hopefully, like I said, he can get the playoffs. They need pitching so bad forever. They finally added it. I had to overpay a little bit to get him. We'll see how it plays out. That's really all it is with Syndergaard. That's really kind of all it is. And another Mets pitcher from last year, started with the Blue Jays now, worked his way over to New York. Now he's finding his way to Chicago, and that's Marcus Strowman. I think this one kind of caught a lot of people by surprise. What are the Cubs doing a little bit? What's Marcus Strowman doing a little bit? How'd you feel about it?
I mean, this was a classic overpay. No way around it. I mean, they're paying him. They gave him like a 3 year deal, 70 something million dollars. Like he's not. I don't know if he's that good. At least what he showed with the Mets. This guy Marcus Stroman was one of my favorite players in the league for so long with the Blue Jays. His attitude on the mound, just the way he could dominate the strike zone and everything. I mean, I saw him live at the World Baseball Classic 2017 at Dodger Stadium. He won the championship for Team USA, and he was just awesome to watch. Like he shut down hitters and fired up on the mound. Like I love this guy, right? So I'm happy for him. I'm never going to knock a player for getting paid because some team is willing to give him that money. Good for him. We would all take that money, right? Like none of us are going to turn down money just because we may not be worth the amount that someone's willing to pay us. But I don't really know what the Cubs are doing because they signed him, but yet they traded everyone away last deadline. So what are they? Are they contending? Are they not contending? Because this move seems to be like they're contending, but do they really have all that talent to really contend? That's kind of where I'm at with this team in this signing.
It's we're definitely a little weird from the contending non-contending standpoint because I think that the NL Central's a lot more open than people are willing to admit. But we'll save that for another day. Just back to the trade in general. I love Marcus Stroman. I think he's outside of a baseball player, man, he's a phenomenal human being. He's an awesome Twitter follower. He does a lot of great things. He really just kind of seemed like he wanted to be in Chicago. He seems like he's going to embrace that city, and he has from the moment he was traded there. And credit to him for that. He has his brand and his his own personal brand as a player, and that's something that the MLB needs to start marketing. And Marcus Stroman has been on that way for a while now, and I think it's going to thrive in Chicago. It's going to be beneficial for him. I do think that obviously the Cubs overpaid for him to get there, but I think Marcus Stroman wanted to be there, and they just made it work. Like you said, they don't really have anybody else to pay, so we're going to pay Marcus Stroman for a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be the move that puts him, like I said, to win the division or anything by any means, but I think it's a solid move. Marcus Stroman is fun. He's really going to embrace the city of Chicago, and it'll be a very fun pairing. I don't know how well it's going to work on the field, but off the field and everything, his personality is going to fit like a glove in Chicago, and I'm really happy for the guy. Um, Now we can move on to one arguably the most underrated players in baseball, in my opinion. He's staying home and playing for your Los Angeles Dodgers, Matt. How are you feeling about re-signing Chris Taylor?
Yeah, so I wrote an article for TWSN basically stating that this was the most important player the Dodgers needed to resign, based on their free agents, including Seager, Scherzer, all of them, because he brings something that none of them do, and that's versatility. The dude can play infield, he can play outfield, he does everything he is asked to do, and that is something that a team like the Dodgers love and they value. Dave Roberts moves his lineups up and down. He moves players all over the place throughout the field in the lineup, and that is something that Chris Taylor does really, really well. He is not a superstar star player by any means, but he's a really, really damn good baseball player. He's the glue guy, if you would say, and getting him back really helps this team, and especially because they got a team friendly deal for him. I mean, what he got like a 4 year deal at 60 million a
Yeah.
year. Like that's a steal for the Dodgers of what the amount of production this guy brings. He was an all-star. Like he fits in anywhere within the lineup. He can lead off. He could bat second, third, fourth. It doesn't matter. Like he can go anywhere. He hits for power. He can hit for contact. He's really good defensively. Like he just does everything well. And like I really think that this was the most important signing of the Dodgers, basically of the offseason.
The thing, I kind of agree with you. I really think it was a much more valuable re-sign than people give it credit for, and for that reason, it kind of surprised me a little bit. I think that Chris Taylor, like I alluded to, is one of the most underrated players in baseball. There's no doubt about it. He's extremely versatile and does so many different things. He would literally do whatever you ask of him. Like you said, if you ask him to hit leadoff, he will. If you ask him to go play third base, he will. If you ask him to go play right field, he will. He would literally do everything to help his team win a baseball game, but he just plays with a bunch of other stars. So I feel like he never really gets the credit he deserved, which is kind of why I thought he would go kind of be a star elsewhere. There's a lot of categories you can put a baseball player in: star, superstar, bust, up and coming rookie, whatever. But Chris Taylor falls right in the heart of a ball player. That's exactly what he is when you think about him, man. Like he literally would do everything. He loves the game of baseball. He plays it like a kid. He's gonna go be super utility guy, and it's awesome. I love people that do that. He has a super high, one of the highest fielding percentages at like six different positions. Um, it's insane what he does. He provides so much versatility, so much impact on the game that people don't really want to give him credit for, and he really does hold this Dodgers team together. And his his skill and his talent is very underappreciated in LA. And I'm glad that you don't underappreciate him, Matt.
No,
So
he
that's
he
definitely good to know.
he definitely is one of the most important players on that Dodger team, and I'm with you. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't end up going somewhere else because I thought other teams, would really go at him aggressively, and apparently he did turn down more money to stay with LA. He has said that he didn't envision ever leaving LA. It was more or less due to Dodgers want me back, basically. They clearly did, and he's a Dodger for at least the next 4 years.
Yeah, gotta love it. Now moving away from players a little bit here, we got a little bit of a manager swap here. We got Bob Melvin taking his talents from Oakland, right?
Yep.
From Oakland to the Padres. How are we feeling?
Slam Diego, man. Like Slam Diego just got a little more mature. I really think that this Melvin move is what could potentially put them over the hump. Basically, one thing about this San Diego team is while there's talent there was also that level of immaturity, right? Like they collapsed last year. Came into last year with these sky high expectations. Possibly people were picking them to win the World Series. I mean, they acquired Yu Darvish, they got Blake Snell, in addition to having Tatis and Manny Machado and all their guys basically, but they collapsed, and I don't even think they were over 500. Like they didn't make the playoffs or anything, and like they went out and they decided to get a big league manager that knows how to win. I mean, the dude Melvin, he was winning with the A's when they barely had any talent on that roster, and now he gets this loaded San Diego team. Like, I think the Padres are going to be so much better for it. I mean, last year we saw Tatis and Machado fighting in the dugout at the end of the season. Like, that's not going to fly under Melvin. Melvin's a no nonsense guy. Like, I think he's going to show them how to actually win. And I really like this move for San Diego.
I do as well. I think it might take a little bit for the players to kind of adjust and get used to. But like you alluded to, he's a no nonsense guy. I mean, his name's Melvin, for Christ's sake. Like, he's a serious. You don't take like every person named Melvin, you just I gotta take this guy a little serious. And I think the Padres are gonna learn that. They're gonna have their fun. Baseball should be fun, and nobody has more fun than the Padres. That's for sure. And that's not gonna change. They shouldn't expect it to. Nobody should expect it to. But at the end of the day, he's gonna help them realize that winning is fun. Playing the game of baseball is fun. Doing all this fun stuff on the base pass after you hit home runs, bat flipping is awesome, great for the game. But so is winning, and I think that's just kind of something. Not that the players don't know that, but he's just gonna make sure they know winning is fun. Having fun while you're winning is the best fun. Winning championships is awesome. Like, there's no other feeling than winning a championship in any major sport ever. I think it's gonna, like I said, I think it'll take a little bit of getting used to for this team, but I think it has the potential to be a home run perfect fit for them. We'll kind of see. We'll see how it goes. Anything else you want to touch on here before we hop out of here, Matt?
No, I mean it was pretty heavy field pre-lockout. I mean, we didn't have baseball for a few months, and we had to live off these moves to really digest them and think about them. But there was a lot that happened before the lockout. Like,
There
teams
was.
scrambled to get some deals in before the new CBA came out.
There absolutely was, and there was so much that happened after the lockout. A lot of surprising moves, and we'll have that here in another part two of this video for the post-lockout free agency and trades. You can catch that here on the TWSN YouTube channel. Make sure you follow along on the other TWSN social media so you do not miss that. The going live links from our shows daily, all of our breaking news regarding all the number of sports that we do cover that will be covered on TWSN social media, on our mobile app, on our website. We do it all here, and we're really excited that you guys are here, part of the journey, and we're looking forward to seeing you again here on the TWSN YouTube channel soon.